Welcome to Home Sweet Home. Every week, the best home experts on the Suncoast reveal their best tips and best tricks for inspiration and transformation. It's your beautiful home hotspot. This week, outdoor living at its finest.
All right, we're at another masterpiece of Michael's here. And also I want to congratulate Michael. We just won. We're voted the best pool in the U.S. through APSP, and Michael designed that pool, so I wanted to congratulate you.
Thanks very much. Yeah.
You do a great
team
job.
effort there for Superior, yeah.
You do a great job. We're at this pool, and I just want you to explain how you came to this masterpiece and step by step, basically. So let's first start off with the design and the homeowners and how you started and where we're at now.
Sure, yeah. Joe and Chris, the homeowners, they're up north, they're in the Chicago area. They first called me there and we just had a phone conversation. They were looking to move into the community here, Bonita National, and they weren't sure what even home they were going to purchase, what floor plan. So a lot of that, the pool design predicated on, which home, what layout they were going to go with. So I drew up a couple different designs on different floor plans and we kind of started working through things from there. And at some point, during the process, unfortunately, even though everything's going in a good direction now, Joe there was having some health issues there, so we kind of took a break. And then when we came back, they had made a decision to purchase a home first in the community. That's first and foremost, and then what design we were going to go with. And then they had one major big kind of idea, which we'll get to in a second there, that kind of really allowed me to kind of get the rest of the design based off that one feature there, because it's the main focal point of the project.
All right, so let's start off with this spa. This spa is different, bigger, and we got different spillway, and it's taller.
It's taller, yeah. So it's a little bit larger than normal. It's an 8-foot interior diameter spa, so it allows certainly 6 folks to get in there very comfortably. You could probably get anywhere between 8 and 10 people in that spa if you'd like. It's raised 18 inches, a little taller than normal. Most chairs, yeah, exactly, are 18 or 19 inches tall, so you just walk up, sit on it very easily, swing your legs in. So access is not a non-issue. And then just to set it all off, we did what we call a multi-step cascading spillway there to allow that water to trickle down into the pool, kind of create a nice soft sound. And then we accented that with the glass tile so that your eye is drawn solely to that spillway.
Like that. Also, it goes on to the sun ledge there.
Correct, yeah, it's a little different. Normally, it'll kind of maybe, the spa is a little positioned a little bit over. But yeah, just falling on the sun shelf, I thought it would make for a large hangout area, where folks are in the spa. A couple of folks here are sitting on the ledge loungers and you can all converse, some in the pool, some in the spa, but you're all together that way.
You just brought up ledge loungers. We just became a dealer of ledge loungers, so if you like these chairs, give us a call. We can give you a good deal on them. But yeah, you don't need to even sit in the chair. You can sit.
You can sit right on there. Yeah, a lot of folks like sun shelves too, because they have grandkids or they have children themselves. Obviously, in some sense, it's a kiddie pool. It's only 9 inches deep, 6 inches of water. The kids or the dogs love the bubbler, and there's an umbrella sleeve in there too, so you can get some shade and some cover there, even though it's a little cloudy right now. So there's a lot of great features of a sun shelf there.
That's an LED one too, right?
An LED, yep. So that lights up and really helps keep the sun shelf as brightly lit as the rest of the pool there in the evening.
And what do we got for tile in here?
Yeah, so tile, we did a couple different things. Chris, the homeowner there, she wanted to incorporate, she calls it Mediterranean blue, the pots there that we went with. She loves that color there. And this is a love tile called Pacific Blue, and it went really well with the Midnight Blue Stonescapes Pebble finish.
Is that what that is, Midnight Blue?
Midnight Blue, and we threw some abalone shell in there too for a little bit of luster and sparkle. And then we went with an artistry mosaic blue brick blend tile there to accent both the spillways in the project.
It's real nice. And the travertine is?
Travertine is Roman blend, it's called.
Roman blend?
Yeah, which kind of matched. They have a chiseled travertine inside the home in the same French pattern, so when the sliders are open, it's like you can just walk outside and this becomes, which it is, additional living space.
Speaking of additional living space, let's walk over to your new creation over here. Okay. Now, you had a lot to do with this, and
yes, yeah.
I guess basically give us a step-by-step. First, how it came about.
Sure.
And second, what we're looking at now,
Yeah, well, a structure like this is definitely a little more unique down here, certainly in an HOA type community like we are. But the Zampas, the owners, Joe and Chris, they have a similar structure up north in their home in Chicago. And after we got working on the design of the pool, they brought that idea up to me, and my first thought was absolutely, I'd love to do it. Of course, my second thought was, the odds of it getting approved by the HOA were kind of slim to none. So that took a lot of time. Luckily, I live in the same community here, so I was able to kind of stay on top of the HOA, but it took about 3 months for us to finally get approval for this. One of the stipulations was because they're on the preserve lot, not the golf course, they're not going to affect their neighbor's view in the future. But it really became kind of certainly the focal point of the whole project, and I would be living out here every evening if this was my own home. So
that's a great idea. I even want one now.
Yeah, so. Absolutely.
It's really nice. Well, obviously, Mike, you're very detailed, which is a great thing. Let's give us some details on the inside of this, because over there you really can't see that. Now that
Sure.
You're in here, this is very rich looking and very nice.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, the homeowners being up from Chicago, obviously, when they come down here, they're going to be here generally in the cooler months. So they want to spend as much time out here as possible. Hence the fire pit too, especially when things cool down a little bit. So that was the big impetus for creating this structure here, the gazebo. But all the details there are trying to be able to incorporate, even though I don't want to say the builder did it, because we take things to another level, kind of make it look like there was a forethought when the home itself was being built. So taking some of just the materials there in the truss lanai, there's a tongue and groove pine ceiling. I wanted to incorporate that. The one little detail though I wanted to do was to vault it, because with the step-up area, adds obviously the dimension for the water feature down into the pool, but then you lose some height there in terms of your roof. So vaulting it there, that adds that space back and just makes it look a little more grandiose. Even the eyelash window over here, as we refer to it as, was privacy from the neighbor when they build the home next door, but you still want some light, you still want some airflow and breeze to come through. And we did the trim work here to match the trim work on the front of the house again to make it look like it was all part of the same structure. And the same thing goes for the accent wall with the mantle and the stonework. Their outdoor kitchen incorporates that same material, so everything's cohesive and it all ties together.
Yeah, I would never know, even from the soffit, right here to the tiled roof.
Yep. The other guys, Superior Construction, they did a lot of great research in finding, what is that roof tile called? Who's the vendor that makes it? We wanted to make sure we incorporated all the same materials.
Well, that's the little details that mean a lot, and especially like, say in the future they want to resell the house. You don't want two things to look separate. You want it to look like it all flows together.
Correct. Yeah. Don't want to look afterthought. I hate that word. You never want to look like it was just added. Even though we were adding it, correct. You want to make it look like that forethought was there on day one.
Especially when you walk out from your lanai, it's a living space, so you want to make it look like it's always been there.
Correct, yeah.
And, that's important. A lot of people, they just want to build you the pool and get your money. Well, it's about what's doing right and for a vision. At the end of the day, I call ourselves artists because you have to be
sure.
to design something like this. And especially you deal with it every single day, and, you think outside the box and come up with new creative designs. So
yeah, every project's special. You can try to, even though they're not going to be built necessarily next door to one another, you want to make that homeowner feel like they have something truly unique.
And you care a lot too. You treat every pool as it's your own pool too, right?
Without a doubt. I mean, I take a lot of pride in this project. I mean, even these pots here, right? The homeowners here, they're out of town, and to get the project, I should say, finished off looking. These are little accents that make it look like a livable space. And, took the SUV, my own SUV, went out, bought the pots, all the materials, put them in, and just those little touches that, again, we're not concerned about just, building the pool and selling the pool, but, creating that additional living space. This is going to be part of this home. It's here forever, and you want to do it right on the first try.
That's huge. Wow, this is really nice. I can live out here.
Yeah, you pretty much have almost everything you need. They have the outdoor kitchen under the main lanai, so once you come out here in the evening, you got the TV, the fan, keep things cool. Obviously the fire pit this time of year, things are starting to cool off. Certainly then the water feature here, to bring the pool into this gazebo was something I think that was really unique. You could have somebody else just build you a structure, correct. But to be able to tie that in and make it one and the same, and obviously that proved difficult, but that's why we're Superior to work through all that there, all the logistics of building the pool at the same time as the gazebo, working with another vendor that we've done some pools for ourselves before. They were great to work with, Superior Construction Group. They share a name, so obviously we're aligned with our values, and working with them was a great experience there, and being able to tie this pool structure into the support columns here and the rest of the gazebo. Yeah,
so can you just break down kind of a step-by-step on how we did this? We had to do the pool shell and then...
Yep, so we kind of started, like every project, scraping the backyard, getting everything prepared, digging the hole for the pool, framing everything out. Obviously that goes in for inspection. Then we shot the shell, and then knowing that we had to support these load-bearing walls here, we left all based on the engineering, the type of rebar sticking out of the shell there, so they could then pour these solid and tie into that. Obviously, there's a big beam up here to support all the weight, especially on this front end compared to the back end that has a solid wall. And then it was basically in Superior Construction's hands at that point that they pretty much had to do the rest of the build out other than some of the finish work because we couldn't lay this beautiful travertine and the tile and certainly the plaster finish where you're putting roof tile, you're putting stucco and concrete. So they kind of took over, and once they were pretty much done, that's when we came back in and finished the project then.
So something like this wouldn't be your normal build time?
Definitely not your normal build time. The Zampas obviously were really patient. It was certainly nice that, you know, this happened during the summer, so they weren't really going to be in town much to begin with. But yeah, they were certainly patient with us. It took, you know, upwards of 6 months to, you know, start the construction to having the pool swimmable and everything, and the landscaping, everything put back together.
Oh, and you had the Hurricane Irma come through too.
Absolutely, and the hurricane, yeah. So that definitely threw us for another wrench there that we, you know, quote unquote, maybe it wasn't consecutive, but you lose quite a bit of time because everybody's out of town. When they come back, they don't have power. You know, everybody's trying to get a new screen at that point. So yeah, we worked through all that as well.
Like you kind of took this whole project over, especially with them being up north. You know, we build pools, we don't provide landscaping.
Right.
But this one, you did the extra help on your own with them.
Yeah, we wanted it to be, you know, when they came back, it was pretty much all done. And when they did come the last time they were in town, the landscaping was getting put in. Worked with another partner of ours called Nature's Blueprint, and they did an excellent job. And
let's go take a look
we'll take a look out here. So first, you know, a little detail here. We had the screen door here open towards the street, so they have 2 dogs. When they come out here to let the dogs out in the backyard, they're facing the right direction, and the dogs aren't going to run towards the street. It's a small little detail like that doesn't seem like a big deal, but you know, when the customer calls and says, you know, I'd like this, it's easy to forget. So I'll give a little props to my wife there with all the sticky notes on my desk to remind myself of all those little details. But those are the little details that make a big difference when it's all said and done.
You know, little details like that are huge. Now, I didn't really notice this on the inside, but being out here, you could have brought that deck all the way out to here.
Correct.
Was there a reason, or?
A couple of things played into that. You know, one is the cage itself. You know, there's a certain part when the cage gets so far out from the house, there's a lot of extra engineering and things that have to go in with that, thus of course associated cost. They also wanted a large still area. That's where, even with kind of my first ideas on the landscape design, that with the input from Joe and Chris there, that I had some kind of more island effect here with different planters, and they wanted enough room, enough grass space here so the dogs could run. When they have family in town, they can play some games, things of that nature there. So if we brought the deck in, there still would have been some yard left, but it could have started feeling cramped, and the footprint we had to use, especially with the gazebo anyways, was so large, it would have been just kind of bigger for the sake of being larger at that point. But one of the little things that we did that you would have seen from the inside was we still left a little bit of room between the screen and that one support column. So if you get out of the spa and you're on the back side of the pool, you still have an entryway to get into the gazebo there.
Correct. How was that, 4 foot, 5 foot back there?
Yeah, on the back of the deck you have, due to the radiuses, anywhere between 4 and 5 feet, and then you have just about 3 feet, which is like a typical door frame, to get there up those steps and into the gazebo there.
Because that's one thing that a lot of people don't realize is we tell them anything less than 3 foot on the backside, you're not going to be able to walk back there comfortable.
Correct, yeah.
So if you want to walk on the backside of your pool, you need to be at least 4 or 5 foot a deck area.
Right, yeah. I always kind of joke with the customer about that 3 foot mark, that, you know, we walk through doors constantly every day of our lives and we never think of bumping into them. And so 3 feet doesn't sound like much, but then when you put in that kind of perspective that it's the width of a door, you know, we're on the same page there. They know that's going to be plenty of room to be able to access the rear of the pool at that point.
Outdoor living is one of the greatest perks about living in Florida. So whether this is your style, or this, or maybe this, contact Superior Pools. They've been building pools from Sarasota to Naples since 2001, and they would love to build yours.
I want to tell you about my shower door. Frameless, pure, clean, heavy glass. No frame, no mess, no worries. They were awarded Shower Enclosure of the Year by Glass Magazine. I love my shower door. Want to see more?
There are many choices when it comes to AC companies. Our advice? Choose a company that performs employee background checks and is licensed with top manufacturers like Daikin. Daikin offers a 12-year parts and labor limited warranty. For better comfort and value, call Elite Heating and Air.
Today, the air is perfect. inside. Expect more from your cooling and heating. Daikin.
Buying or selling, home inspections are not only vital when buying, but selling a home too. They can save you money and speed up the sales process. For questions, call Dave Marvel, certified master inspector and educator at Peace of Mind Home Inspections, a veteran and family-owned company.
What makes a kitchen great? According to the National Kitchen and Bath Association, a kitchen that is designed well, works great, looks great, meets your needs, and it's got to be a kitchen from Murotech Cabinetry. Functional artwork for the gallery you call home.
Hello, we are in Bonita Springs today at the Zampa residence at this beautiful project that we just finished. It's brand new. We're just gonna have a roundabout conversation here on how this thing was built and pick Michael, the designer who built this pool, you know, how he came to this. And we got Ben Cook over here, the famous designer from Port Charlotte. We have my wife, Danielle Krausick, and we have my aunt, Dee Brandt, that runs the Fort Myers location along with her husband, Mike Brandt. So they do a wonderful job, and we're just all gonna sit around and pick each other's brains and give you guys at home some info to go off of. All right, Michael, I love this step down here. You could have done it 110 different ways or so many different ways. You know, my first mindset is, oh, that'd be great for a bar area with some stools and sit and watch TV. But at the other end, then now this is relaxing, it steps down. You know, so it's at the end of the day, it's about your homeowners' lifestyles. And that's our job to do that, is to get the info from our homeowners and then build them something that goes with their lives. So I guess give me the feedback on how you came to this, or if you thought about that, if there's any other ideas that you had and changed. And
Sure, yeah. I mean, I think the impetus for this water feature to some degree was even the past designs there, even on a different floor plan of home. The Zampas definitely wanted to incorporate a water feature above and beyond the spa. So then when the gazebo, the idea of the structure here came into focus there, it was kind of like, well, how could I take the water feature and incorporate it into the structure, especially without making it too large, too encumbersome. You know, so some of the other designs where we didn't have the structure, we had kind of a large raised feature, a lot of tile. And I thought that that would just be too much of a good thing on this particular project. So the idea was twofold. You know, from the lanai or the pool, you get to see the water feature up into the gazebo and the TV and the fire pit. But also when, like we're doing now, sitting up here, we get to have that soothing sound of the bubblers. There's a swim out bench down below, so you kind of have that bar stool effect there where somebody can swim up and we can all be together and kind of hang out as we relax, watch TV, have a drink, and just be with family and friends.
So you have this step down fountain. Was your spa design always the same where you had the step down spillway?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, and all the previous designs there, the spillway for the spa, they liked that idea when I first broached it to them about the cascading effect there. And so that was kind of just natural, I thought, to me then, saying, how can I incorporate it for consistency, you know, over into this water feature? And so that's where, you know, this kind of multi-step effect here with the bubblers certainly originated from the idea of the spa spillway.
I think it goes very well together.
Yeah, we took the glass tile there and just put it on those spillways too, so that it even kind of further enhanced, you know, when you're looking out at the pool, what are the first couple things you notice, maybe other than the structure itself, are the two water features there. So we did highlight that by that glass tile. Mr.
Cook, if you had this layout and the budget, would you build something exactly the same, or would you tie something else into it?
That's a hard question to answer because every client's totally different. You know, just because they have the same budget, same basic needs, doesn't mean every design is going to work out the same. So, you know, one of the things that I really liked about this space walking in here was just the usage of space that you had here. And actually, I do have a client right now that's looking for a similar type feel with the gazebo and built into the pool. And it's going to be a different design because of placement, where they want, you know, different aspects of it. For instance, this one, they want a spa that's built into the gazebo, more of like a bar top on the spa. So, you know, it's a hard question to answer just because every house is different. Everybody's, you know, specific needs are different, but that's what's so great in working with a designer because we can make all those little pieces of what somebody's looking for come to a big picture like this. And I mean, you did a great job here. It fits everything that you said, that the client was looking for. It all works out really nicely.
Ben, me and you always been going back and forth. I know you want to do a gazebo inside the pool, sunken in. I think Michael beat you to it on this one. It's a little bit different, but you can get some ideas from them on, what to do and what not to do in the future, because at the end of the day, it's somewhat the same thing. You excited about that?
Yes, John, I'm super excited. It's always cool to see, when you have an idea like that you haven't necessarily done, it's cool to see somebody else do it and then be able to pick on points that they ran into, or different aspects that you can actually see it and it really progress your idea. So like what you were talking about, one of the ideas that I keep trying to do is more of a seating area in the pool too. So kind of like this, but different, and that's the cool thing too about, working with people and working with different ideas, trying to incorporate something different on every pool. I mean, I've seen lots of your pools and it's the same thing. It just kind of, no one of them is the same. You might see aspects of one in another, but they're never the same. And that's, I think, the greatest part about this job. I mean, that's one of the things I like the best, is just being able to be creative and, at the end of the day, figure out what somebody's looking for and make it come to life. So Michael, one of the cool things I noticed as soon as I walked in was a nice visual from the lanai on both sides and just the usage of space here. That's one thing that I always like to harp on, I'd say, is just making space. So what did you guys, how did that all come about, and how did you figure this space here, this space here, this?
Sure. Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I mean, it's important to utilize the space that you're building within as best you can. A lot of these times with these surveys and the HOA rules, you're kind of, working within a box, so to speak, and you want to then utilize the space within that footprint the best you can. You just don't want to build a massive pool or a tiny pool and too much deck. You want a nice compromise between both features. Using the 3D software that we use there, it really helps the customer visualize what we can fit in a certain space, whether that's a chaise lounge, whether that's a whole dining room table, whether it's these sofas we're sitting on here. This whole project was drawn in 3D. The customers kind of lived in it, so to speak, before it ever even got started being built. But, a couple things that I like to do, especially on a project like this where you do have a little bit more room, is if you can push the pool back a little bit further from the home, your field of vision can take in the equivalent of, like, say, a camera lens of about like 18 millimeters. So you can see a lot if you push the pool a little bit back. That just makes the same project look that much more grandiose. If you have a little more space, makes your lanai feel so much larger. And then having good utilization of deck on either side. You can have a dining room set over here. You can have a couple chaise lounges over there. It's nice to have everybody gather together, but it's also nice sometimes to have a separate area where you can read a book. They can have a conversation or drink over on the other side of the deck.
You definitely nailed it on this one. Lots of living spaces, and when you design, you throw all the furniture in here and incorporate it all. So
the potted plants, the landscaping. Even though we don't do the landscape ourselves, it just paints the picture of this is the living space, not just the swimming pool that we're going to build. This is the living space that we're going to build in for that customer there, and it really makes them feel, that, like I said, they've almost been there before. So when the pool is built, obviously it's even better in person, but there's no surprises on the back end of things.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I want to tell you about my shower door. Frameless, pure, clean, heavy glass. No frame, no mess, no worries. They were awarded Shower Enclosure of the Year by Glass Magazine. I love my shower door. Want to see more?
What makes a kitchen great? According to the National Kitchen and Bath Association, a kitchen that is designed well, works great, looks great, meets your needs, and it's got to be a kitchen from Murotech Cabinetry. Functional artwork for the gallery you call home.
Buying or selling, home inspections are not only vital when buying, but selling a home too. They can save you money and speed up the sales process. For questions, call Dave Marvel, Certified Master Inspector and Educator at Peace of Mind Home Inspections, a veteran and family-owned company.
There are many choices when it comes to AC companies. Our advice? Choose a company that performs employee background checks and is licensed with top manufacturers like Daikin. Daikin offers a 12-year parts and labor limited warranty. For better comfort and value, call Elite Heating and Air.
Today, the air is perfect. Inside. Expect more from your cooling and heating. Daikin.
Outdoor living is one of the greatest perks about living in Florida. So whether this is your style, or this, or maybe this, contact Superior Pools. They've been building pools from Sarasota to Naples since 2001, and they would love to build yours.
I want to show you my shower door. Professionally measured and installed with no hassles. No frame, mess, or worries. Pure, clean glass. My shower door. Awarded the best shower enclosure of the year by Glass Magazine. Want to see more?
All right, Mike, I know you had some great stories with the homeowner and with them being up north again, you taking care of everything. Just fill me in a little bit on what you did when the hurricane was coming, because when I heard that, I was like, wow, man, this guy, he really cares.
Sure, yeah. I mean, all my customers, become a part of the family of the Superior Pools. In this case, too, they're my neighbors. We live in the same community, and they were up in Chicago. They weren't here for it. Luckily for them, so they didn't have to experience the power outages on the back end of things. But on the front end there, my dad helped out. Most of these homes here have impact glass, but they have an aquarium window by the kitchen, so we came over, my dad and I, just before the storm, put the shutter up for them. After the fact, when we didn't have any power, they had kind of remembered they left quite a bit of stuff in the fridge and the freezer, so I came back and took care of those things so that the house didn't smell too differently when they came back into town. And I was happy to do that, because that's definitely care about them and the project, and those were some of the things we had to deal with there in terms of the hurricane. But in terms of the stage we were at, we had a lot of the finish work done. The deck was down, the tile was obviously in, the coping and everything. The gazebo was pretty much finished at that point, but we definitely dodged a bullet. We didn't get too much damage, but some of the structure on the roof there, some of the roof tiles had to get fixed, and we didn't have the screen up at that point. And that was probably always a good thing, because you never know what you're going to get, certainly with the winds and the gusts. So it delayed us a little bit after the fact, everybody getting back in town, power getting put back and restored. But we plugged along and got things knocked out pretty quickly thereafter.
Thanks so much for joining us on this outdoor living edition of Home Sweet Home. If you would like to watch this episode again or learn more about our experts, visit homesweethomefla.com.